Alright, thank you very much for clicking on the video. This is Gilpain, back with another quick PSP review. And this one is Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins for the old PSP. And this one was developed by Tose and published by Capcom. And it was released in 2006 here in, Europe. And this one is basically, it seems to be very, very similar to the old Ghosts and Goblin games. I don't really know this series that well to know the difference between Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts. Maybe Ghosts and Goblins is the first one and Ghouls and Ghosts is the second one. I can recognise obviously what system, some are on, like the Super Nintendo one, and the original Nintendo one, the arcade and all that. But yeah, I'm not overly familiar with this game. Anytime I play it, I can't really get far in it because it's too hard. And the difficulty in this one is extreme as well. I think, I imagine this is obviously, I know, like, Ghouls and Ghosts, it's a trial and error game, so you have to kind of keep playing it and basically, to kind of learn the pattern of the enemies and then to kind of get to the end of the stage, and then you have to, kind of keep doing it over and over again to get a good score and to get like a good time and all that. But I don't know why I got this. I got it for, I think it was £8 on eBay. And I thought it was a pretty good deal. So then I started playing it and I was like, oh yes, now I remember why I hate Ghouls and Ghosts and Goblins. It's just the difficulty is too high. If it was just, I suppose the difficulty is part of it though, isn't it? It's part of the charm of Ghosts and Goblins. But this one, the weapons that aren't the knife are even worse in this one. Like the whip and the ball of fire is absolutely useless in this one way worse than the other games. And there seems to be more kind of enemies, like just randomly, like they don't seem to have a pattern, they just like randomly kind of creep up on you. I'm sure there is a pattern, I've just not seen it. So I did play recently for a high score challenge. I played the arcade version of this. So this one is Ultimate Ghouls and Ghosts. So this one, the difference in this is it has like the 3D graphics, but it's still like a 2D, you're on a 2D plane. But it does look pretty okay. I think it's in the same vein as when they remade Castlevania Rondo of Blood as well. When they remade that for the PSP, I think they actually made it worse, because I actually prefer the sprite based graphics of I don't prefer the difficulty of Ghosts and Goblins, but I do prefer the sprite-based graphics. I don't know what it is. I don't really like this 3D effect. I think it just looks cheap or something. Or some of the games that are coming out recently they're like remasters or remakes, or they're just like brand new games, but they're using like a kind of an art style which it just looks like a Flash game from that you have in your browser. It looks really cheap. Like, so this one's okay, I guess. It's like, it's still using like 3D graphics and stuff, but it's not exactly like a Flash game from today. But yeah, I just don't think that this kind of style is on par with the sprite based ones. The sprite based ones, they just don't seem to age. Like, they still look really good. Like, if you take like some of the sprite based games from the late 90s and compare them to like the 3D games look awful, even though at the time, those were like, oh my god, this is the future of graphics is the 3D. Whereas now, and then the sprite ones look like really old at the time, but now the sprite games, I think, have kept their sort of charm, and they still look really good now. Like Symphony of the Night looks amazing now. It still looks really good. And then if you look at like the Castlevania game on the Nintendo 64, like the Legacy of Darkness, that looks awful. Like, it looks terrible. So I don't know. This one is sort of in between. It's not trying to be a 3D game. It just has a 3D style, so it doesn't look as bad as those ones. But I don't know. I think I still prefer like the old-fashioned sprite-based approach. So I did have a bit of a practice on this on the PSP. This is obviously an emulator here, but I did have a practice on this, and I played it for I think an hour before I just got frustrated and had to leave it there. So I'm not really a huge fan of extremely frustrating games or extremely difficult games. Not a Dark Souls player here. I prefer like a point-and-click adventure game or something. But yeah, still pretty good. And like, I can recognize that this game, when it came out, in the must be in the 80s, I think, is it, or maybe the early 90s. When this game came out first, it was like, it was an excellent kind of arcade game, and kind of that arcade difficulty, that NES difficultiness was present in it, and a lot of people enjoyed that. And I still kind of like I'll still keep this game in my collection, and I'll play it like maybe every so often. It's in my bedroom cabinet in case I want to give it a quick go. But I think I prefer I think this kind of style of like very difficult, kind of having to learn patterns and stuff. I think that style is kind of gone now, for me anyway. I prefer the open world style of game now, or kind of like where you just have loads of stuff to do. And at the moment I'm playing like the Mortal Kombat PSP game where there's loads of stuff to do in that. So anyway, that's Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins for the PSP. Let me know if you played it in the comment section below. I'll see you next video. Adios.